Going to cloud. Okay. Okay. I have pressed the correct button, Barbie. We are we are at Glenda's A Course in Miracles and Tibetan Dzogchen Zoom meeting. Dzogchen is spelled Dzogchen. It's the highest teaching within Buddhism. Used to be a secret teaching that they only taught to the high lamas and all. But I don't remember what year it came to the West and got discussed publicly. Plus, I meditate with a group out of LA that teaches Dzogchen type of meditation, which is sky gazing and space mingling. And you can always private message me on Facebook if you want that link. It is May 20th, 2025. Welcome, God Barbie. Welcome, God Ed. Welcome, God D. Welcome, God Terry. Welcome, God Leon. Welcome, God Glenda. And those that listen to this later on YouTube, thank you, thank you, thank you for YouTube, for Zoom, for A Course in Miracles that Bill Thetford and Helen Schutman, Helen channeled it, Bill helped type it up. Thank you, Buddha, for Dzogchen. Oh, wow. And we invite in Holy Spirit, Jesus, Buddha, enlightened beings, be here now. You're always here, but help me, guide me what to do or say, and help those here have insights that will help them, save them time, help them waken from the delusion that they've ever been incomplete, apart, or separate from Source. And those that listen on YouTube, have them have their insights as well. Thank you. Okay. Before I started recording, Terry, that's here, she studies and practices holistic healing. And she can see auras, chakras. She can read a person just looking at them. Now, I can't do that. I can sense things, but anyway, she has a gift, as each of you have gifts. But anyway, I was discussing with her what I'm experiencing in this awakening about the Great Ray, which in A Course in Miracles, Jesus calls it the Great Ray. Hindus call it a cord of light, which means it's a cord that comes in the head, and comes into the form, and it is a way to disperse holy, clear light, this vast God energy. Let's see, welcome. Let's see, we got welcome God Debbie, welcome God Julia. So anyway, see, I am learning these things due to natural experiences. She's learning things based on science and Chinese medicine and Dr. Sue Morter, where they study the body for these meridians, chakras, channels, and help people with acupuncture. She doesn't do acupuncture, but help them with opening these chakras and channels, etc. So now, I've always said to you all that I'm teaching from my perspective, and I teach as I understand it at the time, and I'll say to you, this is how I understand it right now. But this could change. So right off the bat, I want to, first I'll say the title of tonight's teachings, and then I want to clarify about this Great Ray and all. Oh, now in Tibetan Dzogchen, that Lama Surya Das rarely speaks of chakras or the cord of light, except I've listened to some podcasts on YouTube where when he used to have these in-person retreats, he would discuss chakras and meridians, etc. But he never really dwelled on them because what he's teaching is the direct path of Dzogchen, which is to give you a glimpse of the nature of your mind, which is this clear light of this great ray. He doesn't label it, but he's just giving you the nature of your mind, which is this clear light, or it's called Rigpa, also called emptiness. And it's not the emptiness that's void of all holy energy and holy love. It's full of all that, but yet it's empty of form, of time, of distance, of here and there. Anyway, just to clarify. So my a couple of topics tonight is I'm able to rest within this God space when confusion was happening around me. That's called resting, or it's called abiding. And the second topic is called Gankyil, Gankyil. And see, I didn't even know that word up to last week. But Gankyil is an eighth chakra that is, when you Google it, it's called a mysterious chakra, rarely discussed with the other chakras, but usually in Tantra Buddhism or some forms of yoga in Tantra. But anyway, and what Gankyil is, to me, is I used to, in the beginning of my awakening, the great ray seemed to come in the top of my head and come straight down. And in the beginning, it was a light that would come in and then go out. It was like an up and vertical up and down. It just was up, and it would be kind of jerky. And as the years, that happened in 2018, the arc of light was released, and then the great ray came in due to a meditation in A Course in Miracles I did, for 4 years. But the thing is, that's only one part of the awakening or enlightenment, because a person's mind has to awaken, the heart open, the heart mind join, along with central channel breathing and meditation to release all these judgments of thoughts, feelings, and sensations of separation that have clogged up the inside of our skin, the outside of our skin, all the cells, all the organs and the chakras have been cemented up, shut down due to these thoughts of separation. And because we didn't know how to practice Jesus's advanced forgiveness, or in Dzogchen called Treched, where you see through or be through. I'm kind of giving you a bigger overview here. And like last week, I started to explain, when I look back on this, I could have saved myself years of work if I had practiced Jesus's advanced forgiveness almost like every day. Every day, make a list of like every relationship I ever had. Home life, mother, father, siblings, any jobs, your education, co-workers, you name it, that person, the egoic mind that's unconscious has knee-jerk judged them and stored it all in your unconscious mind and stored it. I don't mean to cause fear here. I'm just stating it like it is. Without you knowing, there's ramifications, physical ramifications to these thoughts. They're not just, they're thoughts. But until you learn to let the thoughts come and go, we've unconsciously labeled them good or bad. And with those judgments and feelings that we didn't know how to process, get stored in the form and shut down all these chakras, great ray, yin and yang, heart, mind being joined, you name it. It's blocked it and separated these things into separate heart, mind, separate yin yang, chakras, separate, not lined up and open. But anyway, if advanced forgiveness means, as you think of these people, this is really huge. I can't tell you how huge this is. And when I was thinking about this today, when I was brushing my teeth, getting ready for this meeting, in A Course in Miracles, I forget where, you can Google it because there's a Course in Miracles online searchable version from the Foundation for Inner Peace. You answer, Google answer, but there's a section where Jesus, I think 10 or 11 times says, forgiveness is the answer. Then he'll say, forgiveness is the answer. It's the only answer, or something like that. Exclamation mark. Rarely in A Course in Miracles does he ever use an exclamation mark. And in that section, he uses it at least once, maybe more. But I didn't get it, folks. I didn't get it. But I'm here to spread the word. You could save yourself years of work. Because as I'm awakening and using this central channel breathing, that's the second thing I didn't know how to do. The central channel breathing, breathing in from the bottom, you can start at the bottom of the root chakra and breathe up through the central of the body, channel of the body, up past the top of the head, then exhale, come back down the channel to the root chakra, just breathing in and out of that chakra. Huge. Second huge thing I didn't know how to do, because it loosens up. It frees up these thoughts, feelings, and emotions now. So be prepared that when these thoughts and feelings come up, don't repress them, don't ignore them, but don't also spin them, which means ego will take a thought and then glue about 14 thoughts with it from your past. No, that's called like that dung ball. Remember the dung ball, manure ball? You take a thought, and before you know it, you've glued another clump of manure to the beetle does this. He's rolling a manure ball. Manure from elephants, because in that manure ball is moisture and things he eats to stay alive. But we use it as a metaphor, as it's a dung ball we're making. And picture dung balls are now covering your skin, covering your outside of your skin, inside of your skin, on all these chakras. I had no idea, folks, no idea. But there's ways to clean it. And advanced forgiveness is you look beyond the body to think of the person as spirit, or say God to them, or I love you. Now you fake it while you're doing this, while making it, because you don't damn well believe they're God, and you don't believe you love them because people have done things, etc. You just keep saying it, and you keep looking. It's huge to look past their body to the clear light of spirit that's there. Why that's important is it's called short moments repeated many times. Every day, if you have that list, make a big list and go through it and stop to look past, you'll see that image of them in your mind. Look past that form to the clear light, or it's called space, open space, or emptiness, which is pure holiness. That's a moment of holiness that touches you and touches them, called a short moment. Every time you do that, those short moments, they build on themselves, sort of like that manure ball built on itself for those egoic thoughts. But now you got holy thoughts gluing onto themselves to make purity, to cleanse. But anyway, what I want to get at is those short moments of thinking about the clear light of spirit that person is, and you are, that ends up becoming Rigpa. That's one of the hugest words in Dzogchen or Buddhism. It means emptiness, vast emptiness, this holiness. They don't call it God, but Lama Surya will call it God sometimes, or source, or he names it 10 or 11 things because there's people from all kinds of faiths come to his groupings. Whatever name you want to call it, source. The thing is, that presence is here now. And we want to learn to rest in that presence, in that clear light, in that emptiness called open space. That is one of the loftiest things you can do. And Jesus calls it saves you centuries of effort. That rest saves you centuries of effort. Oh, so now why would our blessed Jesus say something saves you centuries of effort? And other times he actually says, that'll save you thousands of years. Remember that? I don't know. I can't tell you exactly where, but you can Google it in that, search that Course of Miracles. Because underneath, I want you to see, why would he do that? Because he knows it's reincarnation. Each time we pass, unless you become awakened or enlightened, you get a new birth. The spirit comes back in another form. Now I don't know what form it comes in because there's 6 realms. One of them's humans, another realm's animals, etc. But the point is, you reincarnate. So just picture, I don't want to belabor this, but I also want to get them across the point, why the heck you want to do this forgiveness lesson? Because not just this lifetime, we've got hundreds, if not thousands of lifetimes where the egoic mind of separation, dualism, two-ness, subject-object, has picked and judged and labeled, knee-jerk. In a second is a billion mind moments. So if I'd known what I know now, I would have just jumped on that. What's it called? Flies on shit or something. Just go for it, baby. Okay, now I'll be done because what's happened with me is due to that clear breathing in that central channel. And meditating at the same time, then Holy Spirit shows me images, and those are the images of past relationships, which I'm discussing with you. But more than that, you want to also practice on all the wars that have ever happened, because we've had all these hundreds or thousands of incarnations. You can bet we've ended up being soldiers in some of that stuff. So therefore, sitting in karma is all that stuff. So you just not, I'm not saying this to make a person feel guilty or whatever. This was just the way life was. If we'd known better, we would have done better. But it's also part of the script. Each of these things that happen to us are happening to cause us to turn within from looking out there for happiness and satisfaction. And that's within this email as well. So I'll cover that. That's this whole thing about the path of spiritual practice. Picture first, we believe in this dualistic world, so we're living with all these forms, partners, friends, marriages, etc. But possessions, houses, property, land, whatever. And we get these things and we think we'll have happiness. And then, as you well know, they either rust, need repair, die, pass away, and you have suffering. Because we're also ignorant that we're not the body, we're not this two-ness, but we weren't taught to turn within to look for inner happiness. So we then think there must realize this is me and everybody. We turn within to look for inner happiness. Now, meditation will bring some bliss, happiness, joy, things like that. But if you're observant, you'll notice some of that stuff's fleeting as well. Comes and goes. So where is this unshakable happiness, unshakable joy, this imperturbable peace, this equanimity to all? This is at a deeper level, at this Christ, Buddha, God level. And how one contemplates and goes there is where you practice truths from A Course in Miracles and Dzogchen, which teaches the sameness of everything. Now, what the heck does that mean? What's the sameness of everything? The sameness of everything is this clear light of spirit that's streaming through everything right now. When remembering that in our mind and feeling it in our heart, what happens then is you feel this unshakable peace and this equanimity to all beings, all sentient beings. So you're going from inner, outer to this equanimity and sameness of everything. Just picture that's what you're doing. You can save yourself time by this advanced forgiveness where you're looking out, seeing this clear light of spirit, and once in a while looking out in your living room or somewhere and going, oh, look, there's just this space I'm seeing is the clear light of God. These are just objects coming and going. Now, some of these objects look more permanent because they're more compressed energy and they seem to be staying there. But quantum physics has proved they're all full of space and just rarely any solid particle. Anyway, that's so you're awakening to this ability to recognize this clear light called Rigpa, to recognize it. And what I want, please write this down if you can. You're stabilizing, abiding at all times in undistracted recognition of Rigpa, which means emptiness or clear light. I'm going to repeat it. Stabilizing, abiding at all times in undistracted recognition of Rigpa, which is emptiness. This means fullness of divine love. And it's energetic, it's lucid, it's alert, it's awake. It's an awareness that knows itself, it knows its open space, etc. That's the journey's end. One of the ends but you get to that rest or abiding by practicing short moments repeated many times. Okay, now what I want to do is talk about this resting thing and I was doing something, I didn't know what I was doing until afterwards. And I read a Lama Surya Das post on Facebook, and that's on page 3. Let me read that post that describes why the heck you might want to meditate. Here's his post. He's talking about himself. I've discovered through regular meditation, a lot of things just fall into place and we don't necessarily have to figure them out, which we can't do anyway. Sometimes just stopping and taking a breath is enough. Often with a single moment of awareness, things right themselves, affording us greater inner peace and sanity. Now, so I try to give you my experiences. So here's what happened. So I was having a conversation on May 14th, I think it was, with one of my family members. And in that conversation, he was talking about purchasing eyeglasses from the same health insurance company that I do, that you can get that's a benefit. But this family member was going in great detail about all of this, the different shops and the different ways they think of this insurance, etc. And I noticed, we were standing and facing each other. I noticed I felt nervous. See, this is the thing I teach. For years, I repressed and denied feelings. That's not what we want to do here. Not Dzogchen, not the Course. You feel these feelings. I felt, because I now let these feelings, I'm aware of these feelings, I let them be. During meditation, I'm aware of my feelings and thoughts and letting them come and go. That's the purpose of meditation. Become aware of these things. Don't deny them, repress them, resist them. I noticed I was a little nervous or anxious. Ooh, so I silently took a breath. And when I did that, what happened, I either closed my eyes and saw open space in my mind. And then when I opened my eyes, I saw open space everywhere in front of me. That's the ultimate, because that's reality. It's spirit was right there. And so then I rested in that open space in my mind. I saw it. It's open space. And he's talking. I'm even replying. But and there's different discussions going on, but I wasn't bothered anymore. And then when I got home, I recognized I was resting. I was abiding in this open space. And then a few days later, I was having another conversation with this family member. This time he was giving me specific directions about how to get to a certain location, going in great detail. And I noticed my mind was judging what the F he was talking about. Yeah, and my ego was just judging. And what's nice is I was aware of that. And then I was aware that I felt nervous again. So I silently took that breath and bam, into resting in open space. So just try it. Just try it. See, this involves a few steps. First, you got to be aware that of your feeling. Then you choose, what are you going to do? That's why it's like monumental to remember the phrase, breathe, relax, and smile. And if you don't feel like smiling, just breathe and relax. Because that breathing is the breath of God, the breath of holiness that was breathed into this body, and it's coming up and down this central channel. And it's a calming breath if you take that breath from like 2 inches below your navel, etc. And then you picture central channel breathing as you're sweeping your floor, doing your dishes, because this is becoming new habits that will greatly calm and allow you to have a more peaceful, and you'll be more aware of what you're doing while you're doing it, because you're coming into the moment. Taking that breath brings you into the moment, where then you look out and you can see this clear light. You can see reality, this open space. Then, if you want, and things, you'll have your own path. But if I can remember to think of the person as spirit or God and look at them and see through their form to this clear light of spirit they are, ooh, that's a bonus point. That's more practice of the clear light of spirit, etc. Now I'm wanting to move on here a bit. But I hope I covered that advanced forgiveness, central channel breathing. And in my email, I gave you a link for that Dr. Sue Morter, where she explains how you central channel breathe very simply, better than I can do. Then I noticed why the things are happening now is due for me is meditation, integrating of truths into my daily life, and chanting. Okay, now what I want to do, I want to go to the second part, which is that Gankyil, and which I'm experiencing with that. And see, I am assuming this is this is the name of what I'm experiencing. But when I Googled great ray light joined with yin and yang, I don't know if I put breath in there too. AI says this is not a literal experience. This is something that just happens in theory. I'm not kidding you. Well, I'm here to tell you it's not in theory. It's true. So, but in summary, what I want to express is how this has changed for me in my awakening, because the awakening has many stages and is different for each person, but the fundamental things are the same. The opening of this arc of light and this great ray and the chakras opening and etc. Now, how can I summarize this? Is, help me, Holy Spirit. So as I look back on this, 2018, the Great Ray opened or downloaded, but I did not understand that or felt that was holy God light. I am not kidding you. Because in the practice of turning from outer to inner, we're practicing these truths, but yet along the way, then we experience or feel them. Now, once in a while, I might have thought it was God light, but it's only this week or the last few weeks that I'll stop and go, whoa, because I feel this great ray coming. I go, that's God's presence. And tears will just come to my eyes because oh, God is everywhere. He's closer than your breath. He is your breath. But so that's like 7 years. The great ray light's coming in, but it didn't have the yin and yang light spiraling around it because multiple things occur in this body, human body, the invention that the Son of God made. The more I sit with this, it's how miraculous, how amazing the inner workings of this form to allow this God great ray light and yin and yang energies and breath to come within this form and energize it. And then for him to design these chakras that line up on this central channel and one in the head that spin energy, because the energy needs to be spun out to the width of the torso, out to the arms and hands, the width of the stomach, the width of the legs and the feet, because these are distances that have to be traveled, be energized so the body can move. But he designed it. So it dawned on me as these experiences occurred to me where Holy Spirit had the great ray light bring the white drop of divine consciousness out of the crown chakra to come down the central channel to meet with the red drop of masculine consciousness, and then to have that 2 drops join and come up the central channel back up to the crown chakra. This is the normal activity as these things awaken and join back from being separated. And the white drop in the crown chakra represents female consciousness. Red drop is masculine consciousness. And I forget which one means right or left. Because look, there's right and left sides of the body. Right arms, right leg. There are meridians, and these yin and yang channels, energies are designed to feed these areas. There's no mistake in any of this. But in us falling asleep, those energies got separated. So the yin and yang became 2 straight energy lines. But in awakening for me, I forget when in the years this happened, years ago, even the red and white drop combined in yin and yang, they start to spiral. In my email, I put a picture of it. They join together and they spiral. One is an up energy and one's a down energy, and they're spiraling around the great ray light. And you can visualize all this perfectly wonderful, because we've done other ego visualizations our whole life. So let's visualize your holiness, how the holy form works. and the breath, is in union with this. So in meditation, I'm sitting there and I've become very sensitive to these energies, and I'm awareness is watching them, and I realize I see what would look like a tornado, the top of a tornado, or a funnel. You know how a funnel's wide at the top and then got the tube on it, or like you see a kitchen drain or a drain where water leaves the drain, and as it leaves the drain, it swirls in a centrifugal force around the top, right? And then goes down the drain. This is how the Son of God designed our energy system. There is the vast source of God energy, but picture that vast source energy is too much energy. If he funneled that energy into our body, that full force, it would blow up this toy. It'd blow up my body. It's too much energy. He had to design a way to step down that energy. It came to me this week. It's like a transformer. You know, at your house or wherever, there's transformers that transform or step down the electricity from some high voltage so it can come into your house and turn on your lights. Well, the Son of God had to step down. That's what came to me, this vast energy. So he designed like a hole right there and inserted this great ray. And so the centrifugal force of the energy is the light energy with yin and yang energy, and the breath all got blown down in that tube. And so that it's centrifugal force, it's turning, and it's spiraling down that tube into your head. And this week, I'm no longer experiencing the great ray tube down the top center of my head. It's coming at the back of the head, where those yogis have a tuft of hair when they shave their head. That area is this area where that, I believe, Gankyil, which is this eighth chakra, where these energies join, the great ray, the yin and yang, and the breath, all come in that point in the back of the head, and they come down the spine. It comes down the spine. Before this week, I've experienced a great ray came down the center of the body. But see, until all these things get awakened and lined up, things can't show up the way they are. And I'd heard that Lama Surya Das over the years, only maybe once or twice, actually say the cord comes in the head and comes down the spine. But that's never how I experienced it. I would write my emails that way, clarifying, you know. But now that great ray energy joined yin and yang is spiraling around the spine. And what I saw in meditation is so the picture's coming off the spine. From the spine, where every chakra is, there's a horizontal, tube of light coming over to energize that chakra. So what's happening is all the chakras are getting lined up, and I could feel it. And I could feel the disc in my spine start to get straightened. And you know that Dr. Sue Morter, I attended that breathing, that 3-day Zoom meeting with, I learned central channel breathing, bless her heart. Thank you very much. What I want to say is, I forgot what I was going to say about her. Oh, Oh, she doesn't discuss this eighth chakra like this. See, when I Googled it, Gankyil became like BINDU, which is a drop, and it's actually called source of creation. I'm not kidding you. What page was that? And that's how I experienced it is, let me read and I find what that said. Because see, this is a creation point. Here it is. Symbolizes the point or source of all creation. Now, why I'm bringing up this big picture is to hopefully you'll Consider doing central channel breathing, etc. Oh, I know why I want to bring her up. She healed herself from scoliosis, a problem with her spine. And I could get it, why that could happen. I felt my discs were getting lined up. I'm not kidding you. And it changed how I sit in my chair. Oh my. Because see, this is the natural flow. That's why Dzogchen calls this natural body, natural breath and energy, natural heart mind, because it's all being fed and animated by this holy great ray light. But also, the Son of God invented yin and yang, two opposing forces, because in duality, he needed movement. He needed this body to be able to move. He couldn't get it done with just the great, because the great ray is non-duality, right? Great ray is straight from source, non-duality. So he needed some dual two-ness, yin and yang, masculine and feminine energies, and he damn invented them and brought them into the body in this chakra. Yay. But when we fell asleep, they're separate. Just Google this, because we want to open up these channels with meditation and with breath work. I'm shocked that I've never heard this really talked about. Because it's in among your practicing your truths, integrating these truths within your daily life, doing meditation and breath work. And the main deal is that advanced forgiveness. Let's see what else I got here. And you're learning to rest. You're learning to rest, which means learning to abide within that clear light or open space of God source. And it's clear because it's pure, non-adulterated from any objects, or even though the object can show up, it just streams through them. It's not stopped. It's continuous. It's pure. And even the objects are pure. It's only our perceptions that make them not pure, because they're holy. Everything, the statement that Lama Surya Das would make, everything is God or God is nowhere. That's your only two choices. But I never thought about it that way, because I got sucked into duality. But that's why it's called integration of form and emptiness, where you look out and you're realizing that form, we'll just talk human beings or dogs or animals, they can't be animated if that form, they can't be alive unless that form is being animated by that God light, yin and yang, and the breath. That's why everything's God or goddesses, and why the earth is holy, because it's animated by all these natural forces, the natural great ray light, the natural yin and yang energies are flowing. Oh, wait. And this came to me this week too, is I have expressed to y'all before that the Son of God decided he wanted a form to play with. So he made human form, and then he fell asleep when he fell in love with the body, right? Well, I'm kind of back previous to that. That's called, I'm kind of coming before the body. What happened before the body is the Son of God picture. The Son of God lives in the absolute. Forget the universe and form. In the absolute, there's just absolute source. That means no duality. That means no subject object. That means no two-ness. It's boring. There's nothing changing. It's all the same. So the Son of God got the idea he'd like a world of change. I'm not kidding. He'd like some things to play with. So he created the universe. And with it came yin and yang, masculine, feminine energies, and the breath, because he wanted a world he could experience change in. He could put his spirit inside the earth, inside these forms, inside a plant, and feel like what that energy felt like to be birthed, to live, to suffer, to die, just playing in the sandbox. He set him up a sandbox. He created a world. And I found in my email, I found a paragraph where Jesus says, we invented the world. Well, darlings, that's what the F happened. The Son of God invented the universe for change. Pardon my exuberance here. It was just something to play with, an experience. What could go wrong with this deal? So you're awakening to the reality that both can be together, so that heaven and earth business, that red drop in your root below your pelvis, the root chakra, when that opens, you feel stable and secure, and you can breathe out of your belly. My whole life, I breathed shallow. I was nervous, underneath nervous, because I was breathing up and above my chest. But that's the masculine energy is up to about the solar plexus. Then from the heart chakra, throat, third eye, crown, that's holiness. That's the white drop, feminine energy, divinity. Those two got separated. With central channel breathing, you're bringing them together. You're bringing them together in this channel. You're awakening these energies. Now, bear in mind, this is going to bring up thoughts, feelings, and emotions. You have your journal, you write them down. You might need to see a therapist. I don't know what kind of stuff's going to get brought up, because this is what will happen. Because what has happened with me, and not so that I need a therapist, but because now I can accept that the things that have happened to me, I asked for in that bus stop conversation where I sat down with all the people in my relationships, and we all agreed who was going to do what to each other, because the purpose was for us to awaken from the dream. In the bus stop conversation, everybody's awake. They have felt, and they're there in that holy energy, but they realize they're going to incarnate again, and they want to wake up in the incarnation. So to wake up, they can't have la-di-da, no suffering. There's got to be some suffering where they can turn within. There's got to be a better way. A God's got to be a loving God. A God can't be a God that allows this. And you turn that inner path of spiritual path starts to then later the deeper path of the sameness of everything, of the spirit life of everything. That's very freeing to recognize we all agreed to all this for a purpose, to wake up from the dream, to remember what we are. That's the purpose of all the, and like Jesus says in the Course, the other purpose is to help the whole sonship wake up. Because as you wake up to the spirit and light you are, that radiates out of you. Let's make sure. Learn to rest, I covered that. Sameness, I covered that. I covered that. So the great ray cleaning, it does its cleaning for me various ways. A few weeks back, I described how I felt the great ray came through my skin and cleaned the underside of my skin. Then it cleaned the top side of my skin, but yet I felt the skin in between them. Because I've clogged up my skin with a bunch of judgments. It's cleaning that. Then other times in my email, I described it took waves, ocean waves of light, like solid waves, came from the top of my head would come down, the width of everything, a wave, like an ocean wave. That's used for me because water's cleansing, you know. So the great rate, it just doing some mass cleaning as it comes through the form. But I've learned as I feel these cleanings going on, well, I should clarify, another cleaning is to make my head come from center to go to the right, come back to center, go to the left, come back to center. That's cleaning, another form of cleaning, the great rate cleaning led by Holy Spirit. And when it goes to the great rate takes my head to the left, I'm cleaning police judgments from the past. And when it goes to the right, it's making room for God's presence, because the form, mind, and heart have to get cleaned up, these thoughts of judgment removed, so that we end up being an open vessel to allow the light particles to settle back into us, that transformation to occur. So picture it, I called it a baptism by light, but it's various ways, and you may have other ways the Holy Spirit works with you. And that brings up that head movement, and that Dr. Sue Morter, she does that movement as well, because it helps settle light change into the body, is kind of how she describes when she would have people think of some horrific event that happened in their life, not the worst one, but one, and then about forgiveness and letting it go. Then after the person had let it go, supposedly, then she says, I want you to take your head and go to either your left shoulder, come back to center, go to your right shoulder. And I was in shock, because Holy Spirit had done this stuff with me naturally, but she's learned it because it's happened to her, and then bring it back. So I'm having to talk fast because it's almost 8. So in meditation, I meditate daily with that Dzogchen group out of LA. Then some days there's a meditation or thing at night, Thursday night. But it was last Thursday, Martha was leading meditation. And so I'm resting in the light while she's teaching. And I felt the spiraling light. Now I've got to get this in before I go to the head movement. What changed last week was the great ray was coming in my head, but it was coming in kind of in the back, but it had the spiraling energy around it, and the breath was subtle. It was just kind of like a soft in and out breath, almost indiscernible breath went with it. But when I looked in my mind, my whole mind was like hollow. That was the word, HOLLOW, hollow. And it's never been hollow. I'm not kidding you. Because picture, the mind is thinking all those thoughts. It's having sight, seeing and hearing, and then it's dual, it's labeling what it sees and what it hears and what it's thinking and what it's smelling. The whole 6 senses. That's why we meditate, we let these thoughts and feelings come and go. But picture, the mind is just full of stuff. Well, enough cleaning's gone on. I was in shock. I looked at my mind and it was hollow. Another word is empty, but empty meant not full of stuff, not full of thoughts, forms, images. It was empty, pure, but the great ray was spiraling there, and going down my spine. Now I wanted to make sure I covered. So there's a reason behind what I'm describing here about this advanced forgiveness work and this channel breathing, is bringing up we want to let go of these unconscious thoughts and conscious. So during the day, if an image of somebody comes to mind, start practicing forgiveness on them and start thinking of them as spirit. God, I love you, I love you, I love you, etc. Okay, so I want to get to this head. So I'm sitting there meditating, and before this head movement has happened, back in 2018, it started. off and on. It went on for years, 3 or 4 years, but stopped and only started maybe a month ago. It started up again when Holy Spirit's doing this really fine cleaning, really fine cleaning. I'm sitting there, the camera's on, I'm in a Zoom meeting with a group of people, like, I don't even know, 18, 20 people. My head, I could sense, oh, I went, oh my head was going to start going to the right, come back to center, go to the left. And I made a split-second decision. I wasn't turning my camera off. Now, years ago, I probably would have done that, or even a year ago, because that's kind of embarrassing. I mean, really, what in the world? Because ego goes, what do they think of me? What's going on? Is that really this? Now, picture, I'm not doing this. This is part of this naturalness that occurs is with meditation, what happens, we're flopping, we're dropping into this natural state of natural body, natural breath and energy, natural heart, mind, naturalness, and we learn to go with the flow. So I'm just be there, and I'm not kidding you. And the head goes to the right, and then comes back to center, goes to the left. Now, when it was doing that, it did something different. Usually when my head goes right or left, it'll kind of stop a little bit before the edge of the shoulder. It was either last week, I forget, I get kind of lose track. It kind of wanted me to kind of push on my head just a little to get it to go a little further. Because see, that's cleaning more. That's cleaning some more. Cleaning, this way's cleaning past thoughts. This way's making room for God's presence. So I just left the light of the camera on, and that went on for like 5 minutes. And in my email, I think I described, and I will continue this next week because it's so important. All of the, oh, and I forgot to show, I want to show you a gachi. A gachi is this symbol. See, that one's got a yellow, red, and a blue forces. But what I'm talking about here is four. There's the great ray, two yin and yang, and the breath. They're all swirling. They're all swirling in a circle, joined, all joined together. This is a chakra that's back there where that tuft of hair is left when the yogis shave their heads. But anyway, what I want to say is, oh, there's more. Oh my goodness. This is part of this. So after that, I don't remember it was then. I think it was then. I've got to go. I've got to hurry here. Is in this great ray, usually when it spirals, it's kind of a big spiral. And I have to relax or it can kind of hurt my neck because my head's moving. But there started this real tight spiral, teeny tiny spiral. And and it's going straight down my body from head to toes. And I recognize what it's doing. It's just really fine tuning all the light energy in the form. And after, I forget, this is in the email, I apologize if I get some of these steps wrong. And then the energy starts going back down this channel again, where the white drop's going down there to meet the red. The white divine drop meets the red earth drop and joins them and brings them up the channel and then takes them down together in the channel. And I silently call out the chakra names as the light goes past. That's a big deal because then you're silently calling out these chakras that have been ignored and are kind of froze up, and your attention allows them to start to flex a little bit and receive some light. But anyway, the combined yin and yang gets down to the root chakra. And then that drop, and I know it's combined because it feels denser and larger than the prior single drop. As this drop comes up, I don't remember exactly where, I recognized this drop had a tail to it. And in my mind, I'm looking at it because see, it's coming up the channel. And I'm just watching. And as the combined drop goes up the channel, that tail gets longer. It just the length, the drops, it's like an oval drop. It doesn't have a color, this drop. It's just a drop, a dense drop, moves up the channel. And when it gets to the head, this tail is as long as from my pelvis to my head. And I recognize what the tail was. It was the root to a lotus bud. The combined two drops in the crown chakra were a lotus bud. And that root that extended down the channel went from the crown chakra down to the root, which is mud, which is the earth plane, right? Lotuses bloom because the root goes down into the mud as this beautiful flower bud and then opens, that's sitting on the top of the water, right? That's why Dzogchen or the chakras are called lotus flowers, because they have petals that open beautifully and they have a different numbered petals. But the point is, what? So that was just showing me that the earth and heaven had joined in this bud, this lotus bud, and in the chakra system, the crown chakra opens to 1,000 petals, etc., etc. I don't know. And I forget in the email, I forget because there were several things, different times going on, where the light settles down, but now then it's settled as particles of light versus the wave versus the inner and outer skin. All I'm explaining is Holy Spirit wants to help clean up our forms and minds and hearts, and He is. If we just turn it over to Him, ask Him to help us, do our part by learning central channel breathing and meditation and forgiveness, advanced forgiveness. So also what I want to summarize with is these things are literal. I'm telling you, Dzogchen and these Tibetans, they know what's going on. They've researched this thousands of years and it's come down through their lineage. It's passed on to these holy beings and in their sutras. But the picture of a bud with a root, a lotus bud, and a great ray with yin and yang. These are true energies. Let's see what else I had moving. I was trying. Oh, so in that meditation with Martha, I realized she opens the floor for comment that I needed to comment. So after a few people commented, I unmuted and commented. I wanted to express what was happening is that I explained the great ray light was coming in my head, and when it moved my head to the left, it was removing some past judgments out of my mind. And when it moves to the right, it's making room for Holy Source presence. There's a reason why this was happening. It's a cleaning, etc. So a person can take from it what they want, right? Or whatever. Now, I want to open the floor to some questions or comments here because Julia usually does a bunch of chakra work. I don't know, etc. Now, Terry's in a group meeting, so she can't comment. She does holistic healing via chakras, Yin and Yang channel. She doesn't do acupuncture, etc. But some of you have probably experienced these things. Oh, because it's literal, that Kundalini energy. That energy from the root chakra, that red drop, is the earthly yin thing, masculine energy wanting to come up to fuel energy in the central channel to meet the white divine drop consciousness. They meet and go up and down this channel. Now, sometimes Holy Spirit will have you breathe from the navel down. That's perfectly fine because that's cleaning those earthly chakras. Other times you breathe in from the solar plexus up. That's breathing in up, and you going up above the top of the head. There's that's clearing those chakras. Or sometimes it breathes from the top of your head down from the top of the head through the crown chakra, third eye, throat chakra, heart chakra, solar plexus, sacral root, through your legs and feet into the earth as one whole breath. I mean, in and out breath, and turns around and comes back up. There's various ways Holy Spirit will use that central channel depending on what cleaning he wants to do on your chakras, etc. Okay. Any thoughts or questions before I stop the recording? I know this is unusual, but but Angela said her mom has passed. So dear Angela, sorry for that, but I know Angela really, really was practicing loving her mother, and it's your intention that matters when you're loving your family members. That she's inspired by these light experiences and wants to set up a meditation practice, etc. Because without that, that fundamental daily meditation practice, I would not be experiencing this. Because we must learn the nature of how this mind works so we don't fall prey to it, etc. Anyway, okay, we go around the Zoom room calling out. This is a moment of holiness. This is a moment of resting in the clear light, recognizing the clear light, the Rigpa that's here. Holy God Barbie, Holy God Ed, Holy God Suzanne, Holy God Debbie, Holy God Dee and Lucas, Holy God Lucas, Holy God Terry, Holy God Leon, Holy God Julia, Holy God Glenda, Holy God, all those listening to the video later, and then we'll just name off some of our Sangha mates: Angela, Joan, Joanne, Lorraine, Steve, Liz, Susan's here, Gabby, Jerry, Gonzalo, Keith Urban, Rob, James, Ganale, Alvaro, Sabone, Kareem. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Holy Spirit, for being with us, Jesus, Buddha, enlightened beings. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording, and we stay in chat for those that want. Stop recording.